So in the paper model here, you will see the template, which is like flattened of template of different kind of fruit, and at the edge, at the glue tab, white glue tab, there is a print of different name of other fruit. So it kind of like it. For instance, if you want to describe Mandarin orange, it's a little bit like lemon and a little bit like, So it's a kind of like the fruit and some other kind of fruit that related to it is printed in here. And also, this fruit is kind of the third generation of my paper model idea. So most of paper model idea is kind of like dealing with this thing, object and text that incorporate with it, whether it's going to be like idea or stereotype or any kind of thing. But the fruit is actually first time being realized in Sharjah Biennale, which is Sharjah is maybe someone might not know. Sharjah is a state next to Dubai, so it's in the Middle East, and Dubai is a bit of like Las Vegas or Las Vegas of Middle East, where everything could be possible. But Sharjah, which is like 5 or 10 minutes next to it, they still use Islamic law, and so it's a kind of like a state, strict Islamic state nearby Los Angeles, you can say. So once, well, when I have a kind of when I go to Sharjah and I started to think what kind of object I should dealing with, and the idea of fruit is coming by the fact that it's a kind of neutral object. Because Middle East is like an area where everyone have comment or everyone try to make a statement over there. So this is a kind of like non-statement, kind of like make something that everyone able to access. Also it's a very primitive form of early stage of art practice. You draw strict still life and everything. So the idea, but also at the same time, fruit is also linked to the idea of different races, different tribe, and the idea of text around fruit is also kind of like different types. So it's a kind of like a little kind of comment about diversity of tribe and awareness of different kind of races around. And also the development about the text in fruit is not only one script but also 3 languages being printed in here. So in Sharjah is Thai language, which is my personal language, and then English, which is kind of universal, let's say, universal language, and then Arabic, which is like local language. When this work transferred to somewhere else, like in Japan, Arabic is being replaced by Japanese character. So these 3 languages is kind of shuffle around and then spread around, and then if it kind of like in a way is a kind of guideline where you can match the words. For instance, if you match the word pineapple together with pineapple, if you understand the word pineapple in English and accidentally another side that you need to glue is in English, you're able to know and realize that it's matched here. But also there is a kind of local language, for instance Arabic and the English, you're able to kind of like translate. But also there is unknown like Thai, or for you here maybe Thai and Arabic is kind of unknown. So you need to play around with text and shape of because one you're able to match the form, and then the shape is kind of create some kind of guideline, and you create the form. So it a kind of play between the different language and the object and the representation form itself. So you kind of like make it into an object. And then when it becomes fruit, you know, when it not only when the object has become kind of more abstract or more neutral, they're also open for another possibility. In Sharjah, we make this fruit market, and we invite public, local public to participate, and then we offer them the real fruit in exchange. So when they complete the fruit work, and then this fruit become part of art object from the museum trade back with the fruit that they're able to eat. So it's a kind of like a little bit of irony, actually, in the sense that, what is the function of art? What is the function of art to what community, or, at least you're able to eat it. But also, when it moves to somewhere else, in different country, like when it second realized in Icon Gallery in Birmingham and also Anofini in Bristol, United Kingdom. This idea of trades and eat is kind of changed because the society over there maybe is more complicated and more sophisticated. So the kind of a trading model is changed. It's similar to here. It's like we give away a template, and then if you finish the template, will be back to art exhibit. But if you want to take it back home, you need to pay or donate the price of the artwork, as it kind of like about like you collect. We call it like collector system instead of market. So this kind of like this kind of system is beautiful. The even more interesting thing is when we decided to open this fruit shop in Yokohama, and the project need to run there every day for 3 months. So we need to I need to seriously think of how to sustain this kind of like fruit economic system. And we have a kind of funny idea about something that really similar to stock market, that we have a like cost of the fruit of the day. The good example is we set up in Yokohama when it start of autumn, and then the pear is still expensive. So when you kind of like buy the template of pear over that time, it's still expensive. But when you kind of like trade it back, the price may drop. So it's kind of still ongoing, this fruit economic thing still being developing, and it's also changed from place to place. This is what I would like to talk about fruit, which is, if you look inside and if you already walk past inside the gallery, you will see another completely not like this. It's like architectural installation. The only connection that is kind of like coming from the same artist is like the use of paper. Also, yes, of course, paper is a kind of material that lazy architect do. Or the irresponsibility architect do. Just temporary and kind of like, not harmful. But what I would like to say is my work or my practice is not always like have a kind of like main idea that I'm going to work or carry it throughout the whole development. My practice, my style of working is more like, it's almost like it's a bit of idea, and then when this idea pop up in my head, I just jump to do another thing completely. very reflect my childhood when I play the toys and I never keep it back, or when when the new toys come, I just dump it away. So, but throughout this, I tell this that is a kind of patchwork. So I have one interest here, and then make another interest over there, and then gradually throughout the long-term continuous practice, I can see some connection of this patchwork. Back to the foyer work. It firstly realized not in art context. It is more or less like architectural design or scenery design for rock concert, for rock band. Because I have an idea, I collaborate a lot with some friend who is architect or lighting designer, and we have an idea of how, instead of making fancy backdrop, we should do some kind of like a space or size, kind of like create a kind of transform the whole space to be a kind of like cocoon-like, to to cover the whole concert hall with a kind of structure. And also that concert venue is kind of like empty hangar, so the sound, the acoustic is kind of like quite bad. So we have an idea of, I come up with this kind of idea of paper and clip, because clip, bulldog clips, you have a kind of hole which is, it is a kind of joint, and the string. So again, it's a little bit of irony on myself that in Southeast Asia we don't have a very fancy joy, or this architectural structure where you have this spider joy from German, very beautiful glass that you link or truss and everything. We only have paper and clip, so I just make a kind of like comments on this kind of thing. We use paper and clip, and we try to, what should I say? Try to make a maximum possibility of it. So this is what we see. The goal is to cover the biggest, as big a space as possible in the cheapest price. So we end up able to cover the big space with cheaper than you actually paint it. This is the thing. And when I start as a rock concert, scenery design, and then I show this work to some people, and they're kind of like an interest to move this installation toward art exhibition, and So again, it's kind of confirmed to me that the area that we always divide, which is art, which is design, is kind of like, it's blurred. And now it's been traveled from Bangkok to Sharjah to America, and then here. And what I can say here in Brisbane, because the fact that the foyer space is very, so this is like purely architectural talk. The space is kind of like, the design of space is kind of like flowing in and up. So when I come here, I just see this architecture, and then I just draw some line over it, and then make the flow when people move through this corridor and move to this foyer, and when they walk from gallery to another gallery, I make a kind of connection line, or like just emphasize the line. But when I started to install this work, and when I see the work, and when I walk inside the city of Brisbane, I can see some kind of like coincident in kind of connection between this kind of work. Because maybe the fact that Brisbane is a kind of like tropical vernacular kind of like country, and you always use a little kind of patch and kind of thin everywhere. So this modular of paper is somehow matched with. If you walk in through the city of Brisbane, you can see that, whoa, there is some kind of like similarity, or even the cladding outside, the black cladding here. If you look from inside, from the paper pattern, and it kind of like going matched together very well. That was a kind of accident that happened. Okay, the last work, which is the kids APT, IUV, which is actually, I just come up with the idea, again back to the idea of text and languages. And also my question about language, especially through my difficulty on speaking English, and because when you speak English, you need to have you need to change tense, eat, ate, eaten, but in Thai language we don't have. Eat is always eat. So eat yesterday is tomorrow or whatever. But various form of of action in time is lack in Thai, but various form of self, of expression self, and of expression of the people that you're speaking is more various. So we have maybe 10 kind of way of speaking I. So it's a kind of like lack and replacement. And I would love to explore more about this idea. So this is kind of like initial idea that I talk and discuss with kids APT team. And then we come up with the idea of, maybe at this moment we forget about the text and language, but we try to play with how you need to justify yourself, according to you and the other people, and then the idea is come up with this photo booth, and using this triangle, which is always in the three-dimension model. Even you see some this square, but the principal element is three triangle. So it's a kind of like an attempt to make a 3D object. If you can see inside, but it's still on the flat screen of two self, two people, and then we kind of like shuffling around. So the connection between three work, as you can see that the kids APT is still screen based, but also have a idea of photographic object that kind of like moving and checking around. And when you move to this work, which is kind of like 2.5D, it's still flat screen and playing also with photographic image together with flat screen, but also it able to become 3D. And you look at the foyer piece, which is thinking in the same manner about how 2D flat surface become 3D and how it able to occupy the space in a bigger scale. So that's the kind of like my work here for APT.